Oh, we're good? Okay. So we're trying something different today for this week's live stream, which I know we said we wouldn't have on Monday. But tomorrow's Employee Appreciation Day, so we wanted to cook some sausages for everybody here at Walton's. We figured it'd be a good opportunity to A, do a live stream so people can ask any questions they have on the process, what we're doing. B, we're trying a new multi-camera setup, and we're also going live to Instagram and maybe Facebook, depending on whether or not it does that or not. We don't know. Never done it before. A couple other things we're going to do is, this is my Walton's 22 grinder. I have long said that one of the main advantages of this 22 size is that this one will work with Specco plates and knives. These are plates and knives that you would find in a commercial processor, a packer, something like that. Not most 22s will work with these. This one does. I'm going to speed test grinding half of it through that and half of it through a normal plate and knife. But we are making a fresh sausage, so the first thing we're going to grind through is this large 10 millimeter or 3/8 plate. This is the largest normal plate we sell. There's chunker plates and stuff, but not many people use those. So this is the 10 millimeter, which also means 3/8 of an inch. So the first thing we're gonna do is make sure our plates and knives are oiled. Once the meat gets down there with the fat, it will help lubricate the plate and knife, but just that couple seconds that it can take for the meat to get down there, you can build up a lot of heat and friction on these plates and knives. And when we're grinding, heat is not our friend. It is absolutely the enemy. We want to keep it away from the meat as long as possible. With that in mind, I cut up these pork butts and then froze them till they're fairly solid. I mean, they've got some give to them. They're not frozen solid, but they do have a good freeze on them. If I can ever get this ring on. Now back here, I've got my foot pedal so that I can just run this all by foot. We've got 20 pounds here all together. Then we're going to split it up into two 10-pound batches. And the second grind for a fresh sausage goes through a 3/16 plate. That's where I've got everything separated. I've got a 3/16 Walton's plate, which is already a little thicker and higher quality than. Okay. Pay attention to what? Sorry, I'm getting audio input here.
Don't move as much.
I don't know that I can. Yeah. So we're going to grind everything once through this 3/8 plate, then we're going to come back, and that's when we'll split into two different batches. The two sausages we're going to make are the Supreme Pizza Bratwurst. That's going to get mozzarella cheese and some log pepperoni. Adding this to your Supreme Pizza brat takes it from being a really good brat all the way up into just unreal. It's probably my favorite brat. The other one we're going to make is the Blue Ribbon. That's definitely a crowd pleaser. Everybody seems to love it. Not my favorite, but people really seem to like it. So, without any further ado, Patrick, are you going to mute me when I? Yeah. Cool. So, I will be a little bit less loud when this is happening. All right, take me off mute. Oh, okay. So towards the very end there, what I did was I grabbed some of the already ground meat and I put it back in the grinder. Reason for that is to get everything ground through at least, to get everything ground through one time through that larger plate. That'll make it easier in our later grinds. So I now have to weigh out 10 pounds each. Probably shouldn't have my laptop on here. Does it sound okay now? Okay, cool. Let me know if it starts getting weird again. I'll just unhook and then we'll do everything at the end. 10 pounds. Seven. So I know I said not to use the stomper, and then I used the stomper, but the pieces of pepperoni were getting just back-fed. They were sitting up there, so I had to push those down until the auger could grab it. What was our time, Patrick?
I was at 11 after seconds, and it ended at 18 after and 25. So you're 7 and change, maybe?
7 minutes. Okay, 10 pounds, 7 minutes.
Right.
I have a feeling that this is going to show us the opposite of what I was hoping to prove because of the pepperoni. I have a strong feeling we're going to get a quicker grind with these other plates and knives. But we'll find out. This moved over. And where is my plate? I mean, we've never done this before, so.
Yeah, I think that extra movement.
Whatever. Sorry for the audio problems. If you're just joining us, apparently every time I moved, the lapel mic was making the audio max out. So sorry about that. So these are the Walton's plates and knives that we're going to do this second batch through. And we'll see if it's longer or shorter than 7 minutes. Yeah, if you got questions, Patrick is going to be monitoring chat. So just throw them out and we can answer them in between grinding and stuffing or when we're done. However everybody wants to do it. All right, so grind number 2. You got the time?
We'll just do an official timer.
Okay.
Actually, let's do my one. Whenever you're ready.
Go. @Tech_77. I think you'll find some stiff resistance with that campaign. You're going to have to get public support behind you somehow. Is this hacking? You see they used a drone the other day to measure the speed of a great white shark? Caught it just swimming along at 20 miles an hour. Not in attack mode, just swimming along. London, can you get me two things with 8 ounces of water? Yeah, sink water's fine. Nope, sink water's fine. Time? See? I knew it. The pepperoni. It wouldn't get down. I cut it into 2 larger pieces, so I had to use the stomper to push it down.
Yeah, like
This one's pretty cool.
5 minutes, almost flat within a few seconds.
Well, the other one was like 7 minutes, right?
Yeah, the first one was 7 and almost 8.
I'm going to have to do another test. This is unofficial. Austin, don't take any pleasure from this. You weren't necessarily right. There could be plenty of things that I... Austin, don't take this as if you're right. We're going to do more testing on this. Yeah. That bothers me. Okay. So since these are both fresh sausages, we're not going to add any binder or anything like that. We're just going to add seasoning. This is going to be the blue ribbon. That is going to be the supreme pizza because that's what we ground up the pepperoni in. So I've got 8 ounces of water, which is about good for 10 pounds of a fresh brat seasoning.
I would go for that fullest one first.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just in case it.
Knock it off.
Yeah.
Ooh. And then it's just hand mixing since we don't need protein extraction. I'm just going to mix everything until the seasoning and anything else I add like cheese in the other one is well mixed in. Now, one of the questions we get on Meatgistics a lot is why not put the seasoning in with the meat during the second, in between the first and second grinds. And with a fresh sausage, one of the reasons you don't want to do that is we don't want protein extraction when we're mixing a fresh sausage. if we start introducing that level of salt to a meat and then work it like it will when it's coming down that through the auger and through the plate, you're gonna start mixing or extracting proteins. So with fresh sausage, mix after you've ground.
That's a good tip.
Yeah. All right, we're good on that. I'm gonna go quickly move this to a cooler. I'll be right back.
I think I figured out what's going on with these.
Okay.
So if you look, there's supposed to be some sort of thread there. We're getting thread.
Okay.
I'll do some more research.
Well, there is also a bronze piece that looks a lot like that somewhere around here.
Are you talking about? You're not talking about that, are you? Okay.
No. No, I've seen it. I've seen it.
I see.
Now this might be a little bit harder to mix in. Ooh.
Tell everyone, if they don't already watch this link in HD, that they can click those three dots on anything they're at and make it 1080 instead of the 144.
Okay. Patrick's requesting that I tell you guys, if you're not watching it in HD or getting deprived of all of the beauty you could get from it, no. You click the three dots and you can change whatever you're watching it in.
What was the ratio of pepperoni to meat?
I used one stick of. I always just get the same thing. Serving size 16 ounces, so a pound of this to 10 pounds of ground pork. We've done it heavier than that, and it just ends up tasting more like pepperoni. I mean, the pepperoni should be in there; it shouldn't dominate.
So no binder necessary for making fresh sausage rods?
So necessary? No. A lot of the time, I will add carrot fiber, but I just didn't with these. This is going to be an interesting challenge to try to hand mix on this cart.
You need a lug?
No, we'll see how it goes.
That is a great poly thing there.
That one? Nah, it'll be all right. Just keep in mind, I said nah when everything falls apart. Yeah, this is definitely an interesting challenge. So again, this is a fresh brat. We are just mixing till all of the seasoning is somewhat evenly distributed throughout the meat. You're never going to get it perfect. Oh, that looks really good. You're never going to get it perfect on a fresh sausage. So just best you can do before you start getting protein extraction. Plus, then a few people will get lucky with awesome bites. All right. I'm going to move that stuffer, move that grinder, set up my stuffer, and then we'll get to stuffing. Who is this?
The user spelled my name wrong
Oh, like the
in the comments.
city?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Patrick asked if I knew the person, and I was
I
like,
just thought
nope.
maybe.
Usually, if we're on
Speaking
each
terms,
other,
they know how to spell your
they
name.
know how to spell my name.
Oh, there's probably half your friends don't know it's a Y.
You know it's a Y, Patrick?
Well, yeah, I just said that.
Where does
He
the
sees your email all the time, though.
Where does the Y go?
Before the N. Where else would it be?
Look at what a messy sausage maker I am.
I have family members that spell it L-Y-N-D-O-N instead of L-O-N-D.
Close family members?
Yeah.
Well,
My grandparents, they just always mix it.
well, there was a popular movie called Barry Lyndon that came out.
There's also a Linden, Kansas.
There you go.
I also have cousins named Lyndon. What's their last name?
Linden Thompson.
Whereas
What? At least I have a locked up song. You don't.
yeah, I never picked mine. Which one was? Oh yeah. Yours was chosen for you.
Not really.
What was it?
The London Bridge by Fergie.
London Bridge.
I'm saying like, but didn't other people choose that for you?
Oh yeah, in high school we had a cheerleading kind of group called the Balls and Dolls.
The what now?
They called themselves. They were like just a bunch of the guys that would come to the volleyball games in high school.
Okay.
To cheer.
Gotcha.
And they called themselves the Balls and Dolls.
Can you move that stuff out of the way? Thank you.
And they came up with the when I served. They were like, "London." And I thought it was so neat. And then in college I found out it's an actual song. And I was
Oh, you didn't know it was a
I
song?
didn't know.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
You know.
I didn't know that.
And then
Oop.
I found out it was a song, and I was kind of disappointed because I thought it was original creation.
Why are you
All your-
moving?
None of your legs are down. This front corner one's on.
Usually if it's wet at all, it'll just suction cup, but it's
Yeah,
Yeah, the
that's
front
a
one's
little
not down.
grease.
yeah, it keeps moving.
Here, dry it off. Take.
But wet should be better, right, for suction cup?
Not necessarily. You gotta get a little dryness, otherwise it'll just be sloppy.
So it just slide all over.
Yeah, exactly. There's gotta be a good.
There we go. Better. Nope, that front one's trying to come up again.
I got you wide.
Okay.
Or unless they're sitting at different. I mean, it's not even trying to grow.
Driving me nuts. London. Go into the toolbox and get me my blue clamp. If it's in there.
You wanna wipe it off with this, right?
Sure.
There is no blue plant.
Okay.
The knuckleball, right?
Over and out, there is a baby hammer that is very cute.
That's how. Well, that's not gonna help.
Yeah, it's right there, London.
Oh.
With a Y,
But
sorry.
it's just this one.
Dun, 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 dun.
Alright, I got you close up.
Okay.
Tell people, hey, if it ain't working, and wide.
Okay.
Lonnie wants to know why do you not want protein extraction in fresh sausage?
It's a texture thing.
Well, that's what Ryan told me.
Okay.
Think of eating it raw versus eating a piece of smoked.
hamburger paddle, I think, is like $2, something like that. Awesome for loading canisters. Woo! Wasn't that Mariah Carey?
I think so.
There you go.
YouTube just pulled us, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Maybe. Got fined.
And done. Come here. Ooh. All right, so normally those would go either right to the grill or to the freezer so I could firm them up before I vacuum pack them. But we're cooking them tomorrow, so they're just going to go into a cooler with a cover to prevent the casing from drying out too much. If your hog casings dry out too much before you try and grill them, however you're going to cook them, they're going to have a not a pleasant bite. You might even bite into it and then pull some casing with you when you're taking a bite. So those are the 28 to 30 millimeter tubed hog casings. And if anyone noticed, I didn't think I would use a whole run. So when I was loading, I loaded about as much as I thought I would need. And then I just cut the plastic tubing. If I end up not using that, I can just put it back in with the rest of the casings, vacuum seal that, and that'll be good for, 6 months at the minimum. So I'm going to go grab that other meat. I'll be right back. Okay. It'll be interesting to see if this fits all in one batch. The other one was technically a 10-pound batch too, but then we added a pound of pepperoni and a pound of cheese. So that made us over the 11-pound limit. 11 pounds is really optimal. You have to have really good packing of your meat in there. We'll see if we can fit this whole thing in there. I'm going to get this all in there. That is right up to the top. I'm just going to pull a little bit out. Yeah, we'll make patties out of that or something. Can I talk? Like, am I?
Can you start a little bit and then bring it back up and then throw it in there?
Yes, that's what I should have done on the first one. But before I realized that I was halfway done. My casings have been on there for a while. These were soaking for an hour in hot water before I went. I kept switching the water, make sure they're hot. But as it sits on the tube, it is going to dehydrate a little bit. So if you feel it coming off the tube roughly, just have a little bit of water, sprinkle it on there. It really doesn't take much. And that's what was left in the tube from the other one. So just separating it. Oh, it's going to be close, but I'm going to need some of that extra that cut off. Yeah. Just cut it now. So now I have to load what I cut off earlier. Okay, got that. I appreciate you watching that, but
No, that's not, I mean, I wasn't like staring at it. I popped in. I was like, oh, it's been 5 minutes. Sinister MD wants to know if you find this easier with 2 people. He says it's clear you've done this a few times to make it look easy.
yeah, it's definitely easier with 2 people. When we started the Meatgistics videos, well, when I started being in the Meatgistics videos, it was always Austin and I, but that just, he wasn't able to continue that. He has other, dare I say, more important things to do. So I just got good at doing it by myself. Normally, these suction cup feet that I added to this one work great, but for whatever reason, this front one wasn't gripping at all. It was just sliding all around. So we added this as well. This is just a regular Irwin wood clamp. Works awesome. Only downside is you have to keep your stuffer fairly close to an edge for it to work, but it does make it a lot easier. Without some way to prevent it from rocking, there's almost no way to do it by yourself.
That front suction might have came unthreaded at the bottom. Is that how they're held on, is threaded?
So yeah, there's a little bolt that goes up, and then I don't know. We'll play with it later. I think you were right. I think it was just too wet underneath it, and it just couldn't. It was sliding all over the place. So generally, I tend to like collagen more because of how easy they are. The problems with collagen are that they won't accept a twist, which is what I'm doing right now. You can twist them, and you can even get it to hold while you're twisting, but as soon as you go and cut them, they're going to come undone, and you'll just be left with a loose rope. So that's one of the reasons I'm using these casings, which are just tubed hog casings. Another reason is a lot of people, specifically here, don't like the snap as much from a collagen casing. Personally, I like the snap more from a collagen casing than I do from a natural casing, but this is employee appreciation we're making these for, not John appreciation. That is every day. I make them all talk about ways that I've improved their lives. And so for hand linking these, the simplest way is what I'm doing right here, and it's just reversing. You go forward on one, back on the next, forward on one, back on the next, and don't squeeze them too tight, like I just did there.
What do you do in case of a blowout?
It depends. We had a batch a couple of weeks ago. We were working on something in the commercial kitchen, and we ended up taking it out of that casing and putting it back in to the stuffer and stuffing it again. That was because there was a blowout on almost like every link. Generally, it's not going to be that bad. It's just when you're not paying attention. If you're talking like I was there, or thinking of something else, which I also often do when I'm making sausage. But we go forward, fold it over, pinch it down, back. Fold it over, pinch it down, forward, fold it over, pinch it down, back. Now you can do a couple of different ways. That's the easiest way of doing it. Another way you can do it. See, and that's the advantage right there of a natural casing. With collagen, this would just come open. Natural stays nice and closed after you've clipped them. But you can skip it. Skip every other one. So we're going to do one. We're going to twist it. We're going to fold it down, pinch, fold it down, pinch. And then we're just going to do this one. So backwards, fold it down, pinch, fold it down, pinch. So you skip every other one. And on those, you really can just go in the same direction every time. It can be quicker, depending on how, I don't know, dexterous you are, how dexterous you are, whatever that word is. Dexterous. I think we're going to go with dexterous. Apparently Patrick's a walking bibliophile today.
Sorry. No, it's more of a video game nerd thing that's like points to give dexterity to. So he can. I'll stop nerding out. You know, for all of us here today, I appreciate it.
He probably would. Another good thing about natural casings, actually really any casing, is if you understuff them slightly, which I do have a tendency to do because I don't like blowouts, you can twist them a few extra times and firm them up a little bit better. So some of these were a little understuffed, so I just gave them a couple extra twists. That gets it nice and plump because it's pulling more casing and it's forcing the meat closer together. So just easy way to deal with an understuffed casing. There is no easy way to deal with an overstuffed casing, so I always recommend you slightly understuff, unless we're talking about collagen. If we're making snack sticks or something, I recommend you stuff until you can just faintly see there's a swirl pattern that runs down the casing. You want to just barely be able to see that. There's nothing to be done for an overstuffed collagen casing. So. All right, do we have any other questions? These are all going in the cooler overnight, covered so they don't dry out. And then we're going to cook them tomorrow. We'll post a bunch of that to social media. So, that's it. Thanks, guys.